of the Blood Edge.
Cut straight through and take him down. You got a problem with that?
Ragna is the protagonist of the Blazblue series and the wielder of the Azure Grimoire. He's a Shadow who focuses heavily on rushdown and pressure. Ragna possesses absolutely incredible ground normals. His 5A, nicknamed the Jesus Kick, is an insanely fast disjointed kick that leads into infinite damage if it hits, or an infinite block string if it is blocked. This button also gives him a great run start option. His 5B is a deceptively good anti-air that can and will blow up any bad jump in, and for some reason it can also chain back into 2A, making his pressure seem nearly endless. Of course, Ragna also has these specials to keep himself in. The dash cancelled B version of Dead Spike, if done far enough from the opponent, can be a plus frame advantage. Ragna overall has above average damage output. His combos hit hard and stray hits will nearly always convert into a minimum 6k. As a bonus, all of Ragna's combos have insane corner carry, and to make things even better, Ragna's mix-ups are insanely good due to him having access to the overhead Gauntlet Hades, dumbass. And if that wasn't enough, if you manage to make the opponent block your 2B, he has access to pretty much every mix-up known to man. Cross-up, double overhead, fake overhead low, fake overhead throw, you name it. Last but not least, Ragna's drive to Soul Eater makes certain moves steal the opponent's life, and this mount can stack up quite fast. A 21k health Ragna is not uncommon if he gets going. However, while Ragna's pressure and damage is incredible, getting close to the opponent can sometimes prove to be a challenge, especially against zoners. While Dead Spike counts as a fireball, it is absolutely terrible as a fireball and is only useful for pressure and combos, meaning Ragna has to rely on either good neutral or assists to get in. His supers leave a lot to be desired sometimes. Carnage Scissors is a full-screen anti-zoning tool which sounds great, but due to it being 2 hits, the opponent can call an assist on reaction and blow you up for trying to punish zoning. What Ragna wants in his partners are mostly assists that let him win or ignore neutral and get in. Assists with long block stun are also nice to have, as it makes all of his mixes pretty safe. An assist that can beat push blocks coupled with Hell's Fang is also important. For the protagonist of the series, Ragna is actually a bit trickier to understand than you'd expect. While he has easy combos, the meat of his stuff comes from understanding how his jumping C sweet spot works, which can be hard for some people. And of course, while you have great ground normals, they can just beat fireballs. As a result, this character challenges you to play real neutral as well, which can be a struggle sometimes, but do know that once you get in, the opponent will have a hard time getting rid of you again.
Hello, this is Silver, and this will be an overview on Jin Kisaragi.
Jin Kisaragi.
Know your place, scum.
Jin Kisaragi, Ragna's younger brother, is a major and elite commanding officer for Blazblue's NOL. He is calm, very ambitious, possessive, and often shows little care for others. Jin's playstyle is rushdown based thanks to his Ice Guard and fast attacks. Thanks to his Snowflake and the long range of his JB, he can play a defensive game while also forcing his opponent to respect his pressure. Jin's game plan revolves around getting into his opponent's space. You would normally want to pressure with his projectiles so you can find a way to get on your opponent. Utilizing his JB and Ice Guard plus assists are good ways to force yourself in and start pressure. Once you get in, you'd want to use 2A, 5A, and 5B as they are good buttons to pressure as well as stagger with. The most important move to use during pressure is his Snowflake, a 3-hitting stationary projectile that enables Jin to do whatever he wants while the opponent blocks it. It is very plus, so it allows for a very good pressure reset tool, a safe active switch button that is also on-push blockable to a new point character, and a good frame trap to keep the opponent from pressing buttons. What makes this character unique is his Snowflake, as it allows you to play offensive or defensive at your leisure. Jin's strength includes him being an all-rounded character, with the tools for most situations, meaning that he doesn't have overwhelmingly bad matchups. He has assists that are good enough to work well with almost any other character. He also has good projectiles that allow him to lock down opponents or reset pressure. Toga is a super that works as a reversal, anti-air, an option to make your opponent think twice about zoning, and a punish from anywhere. He also has a fast and deceptive 5C overhead. Weaknesses include low rage compared to other characters, a risky anti-air that's pretty slow, and his projectiles disappearing when he's hit. Jin likes a partner who can allow him to set up a slow 2-3-6B projectile and make up for his mediocre anti-air with a decent 4P. A good lockdown 5P or 6P helps to get up close and let Jin do his pressure and mix-up game. Compared to the other 52 characters, Jin is a very beginner-friendly character. He has the tools that are easily grasped and understood. with the focus being on how and when to use them. Playing Jin will teach you the basics of BBTag.
Hey, I'm Zerezio and I was called upon to enlighten you about Blazblue's Noel Vermilion.
Noel Vermilion.
No matter who I have to face, I will not lose!
She's the main heroine of the Blazblue series and wields the powerful Nox Nictoris Bulwer. In the story she's quite a reserved, gullible but lovable character. She's quite a terrible cook though. When it comes to playstyle, in the Blazblue main series as well as BBTag, she's quite an oddball. While being able to follow a fairly standard game plan, she doesn't really have to. The reason for this is a unique mechanic. Chain Revolver. A stance once entered by input of one of the corresponding starters, giving access to a 5-link modular sequence of overhead low and partially invulnerable attacks, which makes her quite adept at opening defending players up, evading and countering enemy attacks, and with that frustrating her opponents. In summary, her playstyle and strength revolve around running her opponents down while dodging their attempts to assume the offense, to keep her own offensive momentum going. On the other hand, while being able to contest opponents in the air up to a certain height with a chain revolver, her regular anti-air attack is absolutely terrible, so she struggles against approaches from the air. Furthermore, while she has a surprisingly high damage peak, her average damage output solo tends to be on the lower end. So if you like gimmicky rushdown characters, have no shame in using the occasional dirty trick, or you just really hate blocking, she might be the character for you. As for partners, she lends herself well to most of the cast, especially those who deal well with aerial attacks by themselves, since she provides no anti-air assist. The same cannot be said for the other way around though. She needs a partner who can compensate for a lack of anti-air capabilities and is able to lock opponents down for her. Furthermore, one that provides a decent projectile and or can follow up on a bloom trigger option helps a lot. I would generally not recommend her to a beginner. Speaking from experience, her chain revolver tends to teach newcomers bad habits. While her combo execution is fairly easy to get a hold of, using her toolkit to its full potential requires not only some practice, but especially knowledge of the game's systems and fundamentals. For example, to utilize her abundance of invulnerability frames in her chain revolver, knowledge of attack properties and attributes of the moves one wants to utilize it against is a hard requirement. If a beginner would want to play her, I recommend starting with a team that consists out of 2 suitable partners for her. For example, as Yumi, Mai, Ruby or Batista. And just picking her up with one of those, once the fundamentals are internalized and one has done their homework on how the game systems work. Concluding, she's an incredibly enjoyable character, which offers a quite unique gameplay experience. She's really overlooked and often underestimated. And with her ability to just contest almost everything in the game, she can be quite a soul shaker. So if you are new or looking for a character to pick up, maybe give her a chance. But be prepared for the occasional angry comment on your play. She can be understandably frustrating to play against.
Rachel Alucard.
I do hope that you'll alleviate my boredom.
My name is Rachel Alucard, and I am the head of the Alucard family. I'm also one of the most powerful people you will ever encounter around these parts. Of course, my Katanagel and the Red Bat E are with me as well. My fighting style is a combination of long-range zoning and closed-ranged mix-ups, meaning I can toy with my opponents while staying far away until an opportunity presents itself, upon which I will close the gap to them and strike with lightning-fast high and low attacks to break through their defense. For example, by using my down or down-forward wind drive, Soap Heat, I can instantly land a jumping A overhead. My 5A and 5AA can be jump cancelled on block or chained into 2A, so opponents not spending resources on reject guards are in for a world of pain. Due to my versatility and threatening abilities, it is easy for me to take control over the pace of a match when free to do as I please. Oh, and not to forget, there is George the 13th, my frog familiar that will slowly travel towards the opponent across the floor. He can be sped up by my wind drive and is immune to projectile attacks, which makes him a valuable asset against other zoners. Furthermore, Soap Heat grants me high mobility, letting me engage and disengage with ease. Also, my 4P and 6P assists are beneficial to most other fighters. However, to use my full potential, you will need to meet my execution requirements and be capable of handling pressure without strong defense options. My normal attacks are unfortunately short and low priority, so I prefer to not stay near the enemy without backup from George or my Lotus Bats. Instead, I withdraw to a superior position with my mobility or the help of an assist. Ideally, I'd like to tackle this deadly play with a partner who can cover the horizontal space in front of me, so that opponents will not run under or through my lobelias. Ruby and Hyde are a perfect fit for this task. My conditions to you are that you put in the hard work to master my abilities. I am no brutish desolator either. We will have to dance around foes and open them up multiple times to score a victory.
Iron Tiger.
Quick and decisive. I like it.
Once a normal man and a captain of a mercenary squad that had been wiped out, Iron Tiger, or the Red Devil, was reborn thanks to mechanical augmentations from the Sector 7 scientist, Noel, who he now works for. Although normally polite and patient with others, in the heat of battle, he taunts his opposition to make them more predictable. Tiger is a grappler. He is meant to strike fear into the opponent and capitalize on their mistakes. While his neutral and approaches are lacking, once he is in, he forces his opponent into rock-paper-scissors style situations, where one mistake can easily be fatal. Tiger has strong mind games after every knockdown, through impressive solo mix with the threat of his command grabs. When it comes to defense, while Tiger may need to wait a little bit longer in general, Tiger offers unique ways out of pressure, such as his backdash and his super command grab. This means that an opponent's mistake in pressure can be an opportunity to completely turn the tides of the battle back in your favor. Tiger's unique take on the grappler archetype is that some of his moves have magnetic properties that forcibly move your opponents around, potentially catching them off guard. Notably, Tiger is one of only 4 characters in the game that have a grab in the air, including a magnetized version. Speaking of his grabs, they are Tiger's greatest strength. They enable him to do large amounts of damage anywhere on the screen without the assistance of his partner, as long as he is close. However, while his solo approaches can be varied, most of these are reactable and easier to watch out for due to Tiger's slow walk speed and his lack of a traditional air dash. In addition to this, Tiger's pressure requires hard reads to work in his favor, and he's very susceptible to push block in general. Tiger likes having meter, so that he can threaten with more options than neutral and deal meaningful solo damage outside of the corner. When it comes to assists, Tigers are very solid and will get the job done when used at the right time, but the startup on 2 of his assists will require some getting used to. As for team building, Tiger is a very picky character. Most of the time he wants his partner to do the heavy lifting in neutral. Tiger only becomes especially scary once the opponent is in the corner, hopefully thanks to his partner. A good partner for Tiger should have at least some of the following qualities, and ideally all of them. Some good assists to help with or improve Tiger's corner pressure. Good to great corner carry without the need to use many resources. 1 or more methods to help close the gap between Tiger and his opponent. And finally, being self-sufficient in neutral in terms of assist and meter usage. In general, while Tiger's higher HP give him higher survivability than most, he is also at higher risk due to his larger size, offering some unique combos and mix-ups available only on large characters such as himself. In short, Tiger needs to work harder than a lot of other characters, meaning his difficulty will be higher, requiring good knowledge of your opponent's options and how to counter them, and it being very important that you are able to identify your opponent's habits and how to capitalize off of them in the middle of a match. Overall, Tiger is a unique and challenging character, meaning there's a lot you need to know about the game and his tools before you can start playing the Red Devil effectively.
Hakumen.
I am the void. I am steel. I am the sword.
Hakumen is the former leader of the 6 heroes, and now he's here to kill people with his spatula. Hakumen thrives off of fear, with many tools at his disposal to pressure his opponent into making a mistake, of which he can capitalize with his huge damage potential. Hakumen has great long-reaching normals like 5B, which can go straight into his incredible pressure game full of frame traps. If they respect it, they will be forced to deal with Hakumen's incredible mix-up game. Hakumen also has a unique DP. While looking like a standard counter at first, this DP allows you to play by your own rules when under pressure, giving you a way to parry your layout of normally inescapable setups. He also has Yanagi, a great move to randomly throw out that is insanely hard to punish. And of course, the infamous Yukikaze parry super, which does exactly what you want it to do. Hakumen is also able to cut projectiles with all of his sword normals. If a projectile gets cut, a circle appears in its place, which will absorb further projectiles by itself. nullifies lasers, and is also a giant hitbox. Hakumen can offer quite a bit to most teams. 4P and 5P, while being standard assists, do a very good job on what they set out to do. 6P, while slow, is the strongest assist in the game damage-wise with a cool 3.9k raw damage. This thing hurts. However, while this character has the potential to cheat his way out of setups, Hakumen is still quite lacking in defensive options in certain areas. For starters, Hakumen is one of the tallest characters in the game, causing him to have a huge hurtbox. This inherent flaw is incredibly noticeable when opponents start to jump around him, as Hakumen's anti-air is terrible and Hakumen's air-to-air game leaves a lot to be desired. While Hakumen's pressure game is nothing short of amazing, his buttons are still quite slow. Furthermore, due to the nature of his moves and combos, Hakumen is incredibly meter hungry, meaning that if you do not have meter, your options become a lot more limited. Hakumen needs partners that provide a good anti-air due to his inability to deal with aerial opponents and/or partners that can provide good lockdown. However, Hakumen isn't completely reliant on a fast lockdown assist due to the reach of his normals. A slow but powerful lockdown assist is still effective, provided Hakumen can cover the assist startup. Hakumen is not a beginner-friendly character, as he requires you to not just learn everything about Hakumen himself, but also the system mechanics of BBTag. While his combos are not hard outside of his corner BNBs, you can easily waste 3 bars on very poor damage if you're not familiar with his combo routes. And, of course, you need to be able to understand how pressure in BBTag works to DP your way out of it, else you will die trying.
Hi, I'm Black Ace, here to introduce you to New 13.
New 13.
Who dares to stand in Ragna and Nu's way? Do you want to die?
New 13 is the 13th Murakumo unit, debuting in Blazblue Calamity Trigger. She is a dedicated zoner, meaning she primarily plays from long distances to keep away opponents, and that is where she excels in neutral. She primarily uses her B normals and special moves to zone out opponents. Knowledge of what anti-projectile tools an opponent has is key in playing as her, as some characters are easier to zone than others. Pros: projectile normals. Since her main projectiles are normals, she has smart combos attached to each of them. This helps with pinning down opponents and pressuring them, or to confirm long distance hits with ease. She can also fire these projectiles at multiple angles, which helps cover a good portion of the screen. Act Parser is a command dash that follows up from select normals by double tapping forward or backward, which makes her travel a certain distance. The forward dash can be used to cross up opponents, putting them in sandwich situations. This is fairly unique as most of the cast does not have access to a tool like this. Nu's resonance potential is also strong. Nu has high resonance chip damage, especially with her Legacy Edge Super and projectiles. She can also make good use of the meter provided in resonance using her EX moves and previously mentioned super, which makes her a capable anchor. Cons. Firstly, generally poor defense. Both her reversal action and light normals are slower than most characters, making it hard for her to mash in tight situations or to contest other characters up close. She also has low health, as she is one of the few characters that have the lowest health value in the game, sitting at 16,000. When considering a partner, some types of assists to prioritize are one that covers a large vertical space such as Gordo's 5P, or one that covers a large diagonal space such as Batista's 4P. A slow startup assist can help Nu set up for Act Parser, some examples being 9's 6P and Waldstein's 6P. A cross-up assist such as Naoto Kurogane's 6P and Blake's 5P. A fast assist like Naoto Kurogane's 4P or Merkava's 4P. As for ease of use, this character is light on combo execution. However, game plan execution can differ based on matchup.
Hi y'all, I'm That Scrub David, the infamous PC Tag Clown. Today, I'm here to talk about everyone's favorite troll, Hazama.
Hazama.
Let's raise a little hell, shall we?
Hazama is a mischievous government official who sparks hatred in the hearts of many. People who are familiar with Hazama since version 1.0 might remember him having great runaway potential with a hit-and-run style game plan. That strategy is no longer viable today. Nowadays, Hazama's game plan revolves around using his unique movement options in baiting, punishing, and mixing his opponents up. Hazama's unique movement revolves around his drive, Ouroboros. Pressing the drive button releases a chain. Pressing the button again anytime while the chain is out pulls Hazama in a direction based on how far the chain went. The interesting property of this chain is that it has a hitbox and it stops when it hits a target. Using different chain angles in combination with double jumps, air dashes, and assists are key to keep himself out of harm's way while setting up his own mix-up game. On the ground, Hazama's special moves start with a similar looking stance that can go either into the high Falling Fang or into the low Devouring Fang. He can even spend meter to do his command grab Bloody Fangs, which allows for a combo afterwards. Compared to other mobile characters, Hazama is the master of baiting. All his mix-up potential and mobility may frustrate his opponents to take risks. If that happens, Hazama can punish using his above-average combo damage and corner carry. Despite being a high-mobility character in the air, Hazama's ground movement is a slow step dash, not ideal for long distances. Hazama's normals are not good either, being slow for their subpar range. Because of this, he is lacking when caught in zoning heavy or air-to-air situations, especially without a good assist. He also has little value outside of point, since all of assists are subpar. Hazama's ideal game plan is to wait for an opportunity to start his mix-up game, and then use an assist with his mobility to help get it going. Hazama's best partners should be able to stuff air-to-air or zoning pressure, while also having convenient combo extenders. That being said, his own bad assist means his partner should be able to do okay without relying too much on assists. Overall, Hazama may feel unwieldy at first, but once his combo theory and game plan are understood, I would definitely say that he's an intermediate level of difficulty at worst.
Makoto Nanaya.
Hate to tell ya, but I'm taking you down.
Makoto Nanaya is a carefree and cheerful squirrel-type demi-human who worked as a spy for Sector 7, which led to her becoming best friends with Noel and Tsubaki at the military academy. Makoto is a rushdown character with fast normals. After getting into close range, she uses her strong left-right mix-ups and Oki game to snowball her way to victory. You should play this character if you like the brawler archetype, her personality, or her flashiness. Makoto's biggest strength is the threat she presents when she's in close range. The main one being her easy to enforce left-right mix that she can get simply by locking down the opponent and air dashing above them, as well as her 214B. A correctly timed 2C is the best option to contest downed incoming, putting the opponent in a guessing game that involves left-right, strike-throw, high-low, or just simply jumping back to bait out an option. 214AC is Makoto's neutral skip, having okay ground control at the expense of having a lot of recovery on whiff and being very noticeable on startup. Makoto's Comet Cannon is a projectile that leads to a high damage combo on hit. It is also a great combo ender that sets up for sandwich mix-ups with an assist for a triple overhead. Overhead to low, empty low 2B, late air dash JA or 2B, and an active switch during 236B for a left-right mix. Makoto's assists are average, but 4B stands out to catch up-backing opponents during sandwiches. She does not require anything too specific from her partner to enable her left-right mix-ups. Makoto's biggest weakness is not being able to contest the air game, with the risk for doing so never being in her favor and the reward also being abysmal. However, not doing so gives a lot of space to the opponent, which can heavily shift the game in their favor. This stems from another weakness of hers, which is having stubby air normals. Makoto isn't too greedy with any partner, however, her best teams will offer options to contest jumping opponents and keep the ground clean. The bare minimum level is an assist that enables her to contest the ground easier. Makoto is undeniably one of the easiest characters to pick up, having one of the lowest skill floors, with most of her optimal combo theory being quite simple. Makoto's real problems arise when trying to optimize the way you play neutral. Making a solid game plan around her toolkit could be pretty difficult, being one of the harder characters to win neutral with, going into mid and high level of play.
Platinum the Trinity.
What's that? You punks talking about Luna? Huh?
Platinum is the magical girl representative of the Blazblue series. Her playstyle is a typical jack-of-all-trades type character. Projectiles? Check. Overheads? Check. Big footsies button? Check. Despite having projectiles, she's less of a full zoner and more of a rushdown character. While her projectiles are good enough to annoy people into acting, they're not going to win you games. You'll want to get the opponent to the corner and set play them to death. The interesting thing about this character is that she's very flexible by this game's standards. Even now, there is still new tech to be discovered. If you like labbing, then you're in the right place. She's also one of the few characters in BBTag with an actual install. Platinum's biggest strength is her mix-up game. Her weaknesses are her neutral, the reward she gets for opening people up, and her anti-airs. For playing in neutral, the main buttons you want to press are 5A, JA, and JB. 5A, when pressed while holding 6, has a surprising amount of range, and the recovery on whiff is decent as well. Beware that its hurtbox is huge, and startup is quite slow for a footsies button. The move is jump cancelable, so when you touch the opponent with it, you tend to want to call an assist and instant air dash over them, or simply Tiger's Knee J236AC to cross them up. Using this move as 6A plus P is very powerful. JA startup is similarly slow to 5A, so you generally want to be pressing this very early in a way that they'll either run up or jump into it. If it hits, you can easily convert into a full combo by cancelling it to J236ABBB. JB is your only fast air button. It has recovery all the way until you touch the ground, so do not whiff it. You can fill your opponent with grief, as the options that you get after it when connecting are quite annoying. The low attack levels of each hit make it hard to deal with the 50-50 cancel into Swallow, Moon, / Air Persia, and you can also just jump cancel and do it again. The low attack level also causes push block to move it back less far, so they might not succeed in getting you off them regardless. For mix-up, you can generally just rely on JC, but she also has a standing block stun overhead with her JB, a fast type 5C, and 3 lows. Her 2A is cancelable into grabs and tick throws, which are extremely hard to deal with from it. If you can get them to block a 4A, you are in a very strong position, as it lets you go for a 3-way cross-up with either Persia, 2C, or delayed JC with a raw assist call, while giving her the option to throw, reject, miss them, if they have any funny ideas. Her missile projectiles might look good, but you don't get much from them beyond pestering the opponent. However, you can spam these to counter slow assist calls. For partner characters, you basically want at least 2 of the following: a lockdown assist, an anti-air assist, and a neutral skip assist. The lockdown assist is essential for setting up mix-ups, and the other 2 are there to make your life easier in neutral, so you can get more chances to actually run your mix-ups. You can get quite far in neutral by just navigating through your opponent's approach, while making smart use of your 4P and 5P assists. Some partner examples that have seen wide usage are Batista, Shirogane, Yosuke, and Merkaba. Platinum's game plan is simple enough to understand and to execute, but you're definitely going to need to spend lab time to get your bread and butter down and to be able to 2-3-6-9 Tiger's Knee consistently on demand. Some determination is also necessary to master all of her tech.
Izayoi.
I shall show you my justice.
Izayoi is a special form of Tsubaki Yayoi. which she takes on when awakening her anti-observer weapon, Weaving Zero Izayoi. The name of her drive is Scarlet Justice, which gives Izayoi the ability to fly at an arc across the screen. BBTag Izayoi is a point character, who likes to put her enemies in a blender by mixing them up with fast overheads and lows, and also being able to teleport around the battlefield. When it comes to neutral, Izayoi likes to gauge her opponent's movements before striking. This is because her buttons, while powerful when on offense, are lacking when she's on defense. As Izayoi lacks a proper anti-air, she relies more on her 214B, Crusader Seraphim Alpha, to rid herself of enemies approaching from above. This, however, is a very lackluster way of dealing with enemies in the air, as it leaves her exposed. The other option Izayoi has for dealing with enemies in the air is through the use of her universal DP. What this DP lacks in range, it makes up for in utility, since it hits in a vertical line straight above Izayoi's head. That makes it great to break out of tight sandwich situations. Just remember, like all DPs, this leaves her vulnerable should you miss. Once Izayoi lands a hit, she wants to take the opponent to the sky with her 214B. Izayoi is a meter-reliant character, but with just 1 meter spent, she gains the keys to her castle. Better safe jump combos, set up for specific situations, or just more raw damage. For example, she can use her 214C to teleport behind opponents in the corner to open them, or to easily sandwich the opponent, or simply to dodge and even punish projectiles. The biggest downside to this character is the execution barrier attached to her more expressive routes. Many of these require a good understanding of how high you are above the ground, understanding delayed buttons for combos, and knowing what route to go for based on screen positioning. Izayoi wants partners who require less meter and have high block stun assists, such as Batista, Yu, and Adachi. While fairly easy to pick up, Izayoi is probably one of the harder characters in the game to master, with her more advanced combo routes and unique moves.
Howdy, I'm Bojack. I put out a lot of Azrael resources and I'll be talking about him some more today.
Azrael.
Now, let the feast begin.
More commonly known as the Mad Dog, Azrael is a man with tremendous strength that defies all logic. He is a high damage, low mobility brawler. He also serves as an anti-zoner versus most of the zoning cast due to his access to Growler. Growler is a frame 1 projectile invuln special that gets sent a viral back to the user upon a successful absorption. Azrael provides insane unburstable damage and high corner carry for 1 bar due to his access to Valiant. He can also use his unique teleport dash to mix the opponent up with a special cancel or an assist. His drive is connected to a just frame system on some of his normals and specials. These will change the on-hit properties of some of his moves and provide better overall combo damage, although the window to land the weak point shorten over the period of the combo. If you are unable to get the weak point at some routes, it will cause the combo to drop immediately and you will have to scramble to keep the situation in your favor. His damage and ability to kill a character off of a single mistake and set up for a 50-50 situation in the corner if the opponent does not know how to deal with it is incredibly solid. His weakness is that he has very poor neutral, mobility, frame data, lack of a reliable anti-air, or pressure without an assist. Azrael wants a partner who can provide him the following. A 6P that allows for Gustav plus 6P to combo on hit or force unique pressure situations, mix up on block, and keeps the partner at a generally safe space. A 5P with a medium startup speed that will allow for a good lockdown and range for cross-up dashes and cross-combo pressure. A fast anti-air 4P which can be combined with backdash to create strong anti-air situations or reversal options if the opponent is not using assist O-key. A great partner generally will be okay with not spending any meter due to Azrael being more meter greedy in order to get these consistent Valiants or Supers to kill off a character. He's pretty simple once you boil his game plan down, but his non-Valiant route execution and situational awareness puts him in a bit harder to play than the average show character, at least in my opinion.
Hi there, my name's Rillis, and today I'll be going over Celica.
Celica A. Mercury.
Can't just go around picking fights with everybody. If someone gets injured, it hurts both of your hearts.
Celica is the sister of Nine the Phantom. She fights together with Minerva, her automaton protector, though she'd rather everyone just get along. Celica's playstyle is centered around trying to bully other characters on the ground as much as possible, while healing back the damage dealt to her. What makes her unique is her focus on recovering health to enhance her attacks. Her 5B auto combo finisher recovers a large portion of red health, and she can use 214C to recover all her red health at once. Then, as long as she has no red health remaining, she gains access to enhanced specials that provide stronger combos, conversions, and even pressure. Celica's greatest strength is her 5A. It has both long range and fast startup, which makes it a good round start option. Combined with her fast walking speed, this lets her outclass many characters' buttons in ground and neutral, at least in the mid-range. Her jump C is great as well, providing a fast overhead when done low to the ground. When fully healed, she is even able to combo off of it without an assist. Alternatively, she can hang out in relative safety at the top of the screen and use jump C to quickly descend. With the use of an assist, this can catch people off guard and steal the momentum. While Celica's maximum health is average, she is deceptively tanky because of the healing. This is great because she wants to be out on the field as much as possible in most team combinations. Celica is not without her setbacks. As long as she takes any amount of recoverable damage, even chip damage, she will be forced to use alternative combos that do not deal much damage or convert as consistently. Worse yet, there are a handful of characters that our next best combos won't work on, forcing Celica to rely on even more simple auto combos until she can heal herself. Her assists are nothing special either. Her 4P is possibly the worst assist in the game. It has no hitbox and will heal Celica and your point character, but the amount isn't enough to warrant using most of the time. Her 6P is situationally useful, but the longer startup and small hitbox prevent it from being noteworthy except outside of specific teams. Her 5P luckily is a pretty good assist that has decent horizontal range, startup, and helps set up for easy conversions. Despite these potential issues, Celica can really thrive with the right teammate. With certain assists, Celica is able to heal using her auto combo route in a semi-burst safe fashion, and then continue the combo as the situation demands, either healing again or setting up for stronger pressure. Celica is also happy to have a strong 4P assist, as her anti-airs and air-to-air options are a bit lacking compared to other characters. Lastly, due to Celica's speed, multiple overhead and low options, and the relative ease at which she can cross up, assists that can keep the opponent in block stun for longer periods of time naturally allow Celica a lot of freedom to break the opponent's defenses. Elizabeth, Fatista, or Adachi all work well for this purpose, to name just a few. Celica has a fairly easy time getting started, especially at round start. However, since her potential relies partially on her healing, you will have to babysit her health and be conscious that her options will often change throughout the match, as she both takes and recovers damage. Due to this, I would consider Celica to be only slightly more difficult than a beginner-friendly character.
Nine the Phantom.
I'll show you the meaning of scorched earth.
Nine the Phantom, also known as Konoe Mercury, is a powerful mage with a mature and vindictive attitude. One of the 6 heroes turned antagonist, Nine will now burn down all those who oppose her goals. Nine is a hybrid pseudo-zoner and set-play character. Unlike most characters in the game, Nine does not have a standard ground or air dash. Instead, she has teleports with invincibility. She also possesses a spell gauge that fills up to 3 levels whenever she moves forward or connects attacks. Each level activates different special moves that she can spend a spell gauge on. Nine's greatest strength is her flexibility and playstyle. She has strong zoning, mix-ups, set play, and high damage all together. Her large normals cover a variety of angles, absorb projectiles, and build her spell gauge. With the teleport dashes, she can ignore many common neutral situations and become difficult to catch for most characters. Adding her assists and projectile spells into the mix, Nine has fierce control over neutral. Her strong corner carry and unblockable corner setup give her some of the best solo combo reward in the game, which allows her to be conservative with partner gauge usage. Equipped with a projectile reflecting mirror, her teleports, projectile clashing normals, and a projectile invincible tracking special, 9 is also the premier anti-zoning character of the game and has good matchups against some of the most commonly picked characters. But while she's a very open-ended character, 9's tools are also inconsistent, as she must gain and spend spell gauge in order to be most effective, while also being very spacing dependent. With long whiff recovery, a floaty jump, and non-traditional movement, 9 can struggle against characters that challenge her ability to control space, or those with strong mobility options that can run around her slow playstyle. Furthermore, she is very weak to push block and relies heavily on her partner character to create mix-up situations outside of the corner. The two most important tools 9 looks for in a partner are strong, neutral, and lockdown assists. While she can make do with a variety of assist types, ones that cover lots of space in neutral or that are fast and travel far work best for her. Due to having no active hitboxes to cover her partner during teleports, the assists themselves need to be strong and relatively safe on their own. Her other weaknesses to push block is remedied by assists that provide a large amount of block stun and help her extend offense in situations where she would normally lose her turn. They also allow her to set up Morganite, unblockables in a variety of situations. Additionally, characters who synergize with her slow but tracking full screen 6p can make use of the somewhat average block stun on her 5p are ideal. Examples of characters who work best with 9 would be Jubei, Yu Narukami, Yumi, Batista, and Hyde. More orthodox but still synergistic partners include Seth, Susanoo, Merkava, and Blake. 9 is an above-average character in terms of difficulty. While not quite one of the hardest characters in the game, beginners may have trouble with her dashes and changing special moves, even though the execution required to perform her combos is not much harder than most of the cast. 9 must make many micro-adjustments to her combos to maximize the reward and set play options that she can choose. This makes her overwhelming at entry level, so 9 is only recommended for those who are prepared for lots of time in the lab and players who enjoy tracking resources and unconventional playstyles.
Naoto Kurogane.
Alright, no more distractions. Let's do this, you son of a bitch!
Naoto Kurogane is the servant of Raquel Alucard, who saved his life by replacing his lost right arm with the Drive Blood Edge. While his personality can come across as abrasive, he is a kind-hearted young man who only wishes to help those dear to him. Naoto Kurogane is a heavy offense character, boasting great damage and a plethora of tools to get in, such as Slash Kide and Phantom Pain. His tools allow him to cross under the opponent and enforce a left-right mix-up, while his Drive Blood Edge allows him to create weapons from his own blood that come with excellent range, damage, and frame advantage, but have to be charged up first. What makes him unique from other characters is his ability to dash cancel his grounded drive normals and some of his specials. This is integral to his game plan, as it opens up new combo routes, pressure resets, a way to beat push blocks, and a way to cover distance in neutral with relative safety. He can dish out some of the largest meterless damage in the game, while also being able to perform combos that can deal upwards of 10,000 damage by spending some meter. His extremely powerful, traversal safe Okizeme can be done anywhere on the screen and leads to a left-right mix-up on the opponent's wake-up. If freeform pressure, high meterless damage, and deadly Okizeme sound exciting to you, then Naoto is your character. In addition to all this, Naoto also has good support value. His 4P is infamous for its massive reach and fast speed, while his 5P and 6P are good assists as well. However, he does find it difficult to go up against mobile characters who can outmaneuver him, such as Ruby and 9, and characters who can zone him out, such as Naoto Shirogane and Batista. His solo mix-ups also leave something to be desired, as he neither has access to a fast overhead nor command grab to open up his opponent, leaving Strecto setups and stagger pressure with his 4A as his main source of mix-up. The things that Naoto generally wants from his partners are an assist with high lockdown that allows him to convert off of his Okizeme, or remain advantageous if it's blocked, a projectile to cover his approach options, and a way to allow him to safely act the switch in from neutral to start pressure. A few characters who allow some or all of these things are Naoto Shurigane, Yumi, and Merkaba. In closing, Naoto is a character that is considered one of the hardest characters to play consistently, and demands above average execution from the player due to the strictness of his optimal combos and unorthodox pressure and Okizeme relative to other characters. However, if you were to put in the time to master all of these things, you would have one of the strongest characters in the game at your disposal.
Hey there, I'm the bearded one. I've made a lot of Susanoo things, and I'll be the one who's bringing them to you today.
Susanoo!
I am might. I am power. I am everything!
Susanoo is the god of destruction and the main villain of the Blazblue universe. Susanoo is a high damage brawler with both good buttons and good assists for neutral. Susanoo's role in the team is to be an offensive engine equipped with a large variety of strong tools for pressure and mix-up. A large portion of his attacks move him forward, providing a large amount of corner carry while also making it very hard to force him out once he gets his pressure started. His 4A has almost no recovery. As a result, it is +3 on block and can be used as a reversal safe meaty. Another notable normal would be his JB, which is both fast and large, making it an ideal air-to-air and air-to-ground tool. Quite possibly the most dangerous thing Susanoo has is access to multiple unblockable setups. Grand Viper is a multi-hitting low which when used in conjunction with active switch and a quick overhead creates an unblockable situation that is incredibly hard to push block out of. God Press is a delayed command grab with a large amount of active frames, which when combined with an assist that stays out after active switch can create an inescapable unblockable situation. Susanoo's high damage, strong corner carry, incredibly oppressive Oki, and general offensive tools make him a force to be reckoned with if he's ever allowed to get going. His weaknesses are a lack of long-range tools and poor defensive options, a weak anti-air, slow buttons for close range, large hurtbox extensions on most attacks, and a generally inflexible game plan. What Susanoo ideally wants out of his partner's assists are a good 6P to control space on approaches and countercall an opponent's assists, an active 5P that can allow conversions from air-to-air JB consistently, and a strong 4P either in terms of anti-airing strength to make up for his lackluster anti-air options, or in terms of lockdown to be combined with his 4A meaty to create strong offensive situations from any knockdown. A solid partner will generally have a strong neutral game which can be supplemented with Susanoo's assists, as well as the ability to set up unblockable situations with the aforementioned 236B and 214C practically. Some examples would be Ruby for solid neutral, Jin for unblockables, and Narukami for a strong mix of both. Susanoo has a straightforward game plan, but it relies heavily on usage of active switch and cross-combo offense. But thanks to his strong tools such as 236B, JC, and 214C for abusing said mechanics, it's very easy to get the hang of it, making him a relatively simple character to learn overall.
Hello everyone, Link Pentrago here. I've been playing S since the beginning of BlazBlue Essential Fiction, and we'll go over how she plays in BBTag for you today.
S. Capturing target. Murakuma unit activate.
S in the BlazBlue lore is the Guardian of the Azure, who tests those chosen to receive it of the qualification. She's also well known for her love for pudding, which is introduced in her own game called X-Blades. In BBTag, S is a well-rounded fighter with great air control, superb 50-50 mix-ups, one of the best corner Okizemis in the game, and a good Pester-style zoning game. Her neutral game plan is to control space using her aerial buttons and projectiles, allowing her to either approach safely or zone out opponents. S's JA is the fantastic air-to-air button, and her JC is a giant hitbox that hits twice. This button in particular is also the key to S's corner pressure. Once you get the opponent off the ground, any combo can be ended with 5BB into JB and JC. The JC crest hit will automatically line up with your opponent's recovery, hit him out any wake up buttons or jumps, while also leaving S safe from reversals. JB is S's instant overhead button and key to her 50-50s. Mixes up with her low hitting 2A, and your opponent has to guess which way to block. Her fireball game comes in different varieties. Her A fireball is fast but only goes about 3/4 of the screen, and the air version travels in a downward angle. The B fireball has the longer startup but goes full screen, and the air version travels horizontally. These fireballs can be combined on the ground to form a bigger one. With all these types of fireballs at your disposal, you can change up your zoning game to frustrate your opponent. You're not going to win from pure zoning, but it lets you control how your opponent approaches you. However, S has weak frame data on her normals. They're all vulnerable to push blocking, and her only 2 jump cancelable normals on block, 4A and 2B, have short range, and her 2B needs special mentioning because the recovery when it misses is very long, making it easy to punish. It's also an unreliable anti-air button, since the anti-air frames come out so late. S also has many character-specific optimal combos, so you'll need to practice matchups ahead of time. She's also one of the lowest meterless solo damage outputs in the game. S's partner choices are pretty simple. She loves assists that gives her lockdown and good anti-air support. Batista is the best choice if you aren't too concerned with S's partner being subpar on point. If you want other options, Narukami's 5P is an excellent lockdown assist, but he doesn't have an anti-air assist. Ruby covers the anti-air option, but brings very little lockdown. Naoto Kuragane is one of the best anti-air assists in the game, and also has a decent lockdown with his 5P. All in all, S is a solid character that you can't go wrong with. She is very good at what she does and isn't hard to learn, but her frame data and character-specific routes make her about one level higher than truly beginner-friendly. You may find that she's outclassed by some of the better characters in the game, but she can hold her own in any matchup the game has to offer.
Hello there, I'm Totally Drew, and I'll be breaking down Mai Natsume's strengths and weaknesses for you today.
Mai Natsume.
Let's take him out with a bang.
Mai is the protagonist of the Blazblue manga Remix Heart, and is the wielder of the legacy weapon Gallia Sifter. Mai is a mid-range character with average damage and excellent mobility. She excels at controlling neutral using her large buttons, and turning them into pressure situations by using her unique movement options. Mai's 5A, 2B, and Jump C are the key buttons in Mai's gameplay. When used in conjunction with her unique movement options Juncture and Moon Blossom, Mai is able to adapt to situations on the fly, and play offensively or defensively depending on what the situation calls for. Mai's 5B and Jump B are her drive from Blazblue Central Fiction, and serve as another method for space control and anti-zone. After pressing 5B, Mai will toss her spear. The B button can then be pressed again to redirect the spear in the direction of the opponent's point character, as the first spear can absorb enemy projectiles, and the redirect can punish the opponent in the recovery frames of their own projectile. The 5B can also be charged to offer additional hit stun, block stun, and damage. Mai's movement options, Juncture and Moon Blossom, are integral to her overall gameplay. Juncture, 236, is a short forward dash. It can be cancelled into from all of Mai's ground normals, as well as her 5B Spear Toss on both hit and block. Mai can use Juncture in a variety of pressure situations by mixing up Junctures into throws, lows, or her ground stab in a Yuri. Moon Blossom, 214, is a backflip that can be used to not only create distance between her and her opponent, but also create mix-up situations with her assist partner, change her approaches, or even avoid attacks by using the move's inherent invincibility and punish with a follow-up Susanoo dive attack for a full combo. While Mai's damage is relatively average, she makes up for it in her ability to keep the neutral lockdown. When paired with an assist partner, Mai can very easily destabilize opponents into making mistakes with her relentless pressure. Mai's biggest weakness, as stated before, lies in her overall average damage and somewhat straightforward gameplay when she is alone. While Mai's buttons and Juncture are really good tools at establishing pressure, the player may find it hard to open up a more patient opponent who isn't intimidated by Mai's pressure strings and will have to fall back on winning neutral exchanges when solo. Mai looks for the following in a partner: a lockdown assist with a medium startup speed that will allow for side switch mix-ups using jump cancels and moon blossoms in block strings, but one that is also active enough to allow Mai to get level 2 spear charge attacks and combos for maximum damage. a somewhat slow projectile assist that can be used in conjunction with her reversal action to deter opponents from hanging around in the air, as they risk eating an air unblockable DP, which the assist converts into a full combo while keeping Mai relatively safe. The assist can also be used in block strings in conjunction with Mai's reversal action to create easy sandwich situations from anywhere on the screen. A solid anti-air assist that can be used to help Mai control the neutral space, and together with Moonblossom and Backdash, punish reckless approaches. Mai functions well as both the point and anchor character. Depending on the partner, Mai can either start or close the match. Mai is a rather low execution character, but requires a good deal of situational awareness, patience in neutral, and character knowledge to use effectively. Because of this, Mai isn't a character you can immediately pick up and see rousing success with, in my opinion. However, I do feel that because of this, Mai is somewhat of an underrated character. Once the legwork has been done, she becomes a force to be reckoned with.
Hi, this is Azrael. I'm an active tournament organizer from France and also the bracket manager of Axis Game for the Bruce's Challenge tournament series. I'm here to introduce you to Jubei from Blazblue.
Jubei!
We're fragile creatures, doomed to failure. But that's why training's so important. If you want to succeed, you gotta have the strength to face your weaknesses.
Jubei is an old-cut samurai with a warm and jovial personality. He saved the Blazblue world from destruction along with the 5 other legendary heroes and became Ragna's mentor. Jubei is focused on high speed and mix-up while still having a very good damage output. He has high-low mix-up attacks for special moves, meaning Jubei is always immediately a threat to a blocking opponent, along with his special command dash to pass through them, and also a very good air mobility that allows easy cross-ups. Play Jubei if you like to have your own freedom of movement and if you enjoy learning advanced execution, as his button routes are quite unique compared to the other characters. And the other good reason you should play Jubei, he's a cat. He is good at getting in and initiating offense, especially with his Shiranui move that goes full invincible was launched, and his grounded buttons are complete with high and low normals, decent range and safe routes. He can also dash through some projectiles, as his running animation allows him to low profile them. On the other hand, while being small, his crouching animation is almost the same size as him standing, so he won't be able to duck attacks the same way he does while running. And he will need help to break the defense of the opponent and open them, as his solo mix-ups won't lead to high damage by themselves, and his grounded strings might struggle with the pushback mechanic. While Jubei can work on getting in by himself, he'll still need a partner to look down the opponent or make mix-ups less visible or to confirm them. This way, Jubei will be even more efficient to learn a mix-up while at the same time making it a safe and strong combo starter. Examples being 9 on Naoto Shirogane 6p, Wallstein 5p, or any other big ranged lockdown assist, also making Shiranui even more of a threat. Jubei requires more time investment than average characters. As said earlier, his combo routes are different enough compared to the other characters to be considered tricky or unusually difficult. His 5B, just like Noel's, will lock him in specific routes that you will have to commit to. And his unique air mobility requires a player to get used to it, so using his moves in neutral and going with confirms will still feel hard at the beginning.
Let's make this a good one.
Then I'll count us down. 3, 2, 1. Fight!